Now, in perusing what follows, the reader should bear in mind not only the general circuit, as adumbrated above, with its many side trips and tourist traps, secondary circles and skittish deviations, but also the fact that, far from being an indolent partie de plaisir, our tour was a hard, twisted, teleological growth, whose sole raison d'être, these French clichés are symptomatic, was to keep my companion in passable humour from kiss to kiss. Thumbing through that battered tour book, I dimly evoke that magnolia garden in a southern state which cost me $4 and which, according to the ad in the book, you must visit for 3 reasons. Because John Galsworthy, a stone-dead writer of sorts, acclaimed it as the world's fairest garden, because in 1900 Baedeker's Guide had marked it with a star, and finally because, oh reader, my reader, guess, because children, and by jingo, was not my Lolita a child, will walk starry-eyed and reverently through this foretaste of heaven, drinking in beauty that can influence a life. "Not mine," said grim Lowe, and settled down on a bench with the fillings of 2 Sunday papers in her lovely lap. We passed and repassed through the whole gamut of American roadside restaurants, from the lowly Eat, with its deer head, dark trace of long tear at inner canthus, humorous picture postcards of the posterior Kurort type, impaled guest checks, lifesavers, sunglasses, ad-man visions of celestial Sundays, 1/2 of a chocolate cake under glass, and several horribly experienced flies zigzagging over the sticky sugar pour on the ignoble counter. And all the way to the expensive place, with the subdued lights, preposterously poor table linen, inept waiters, ex-convicts or college boys, the roan back of a screen actress, the sable eyebrows of her male of the moment, and an orchestra of zoot suitors with trumpets. We inspected the world's largest stalagmite in a cave where 3 southeastern states have a family reunion. Admission by age, adults $1, pubescents 60 cents. A granite obelisk commemorating the Battle of Blue Licks, with old bones and Indian pottery in the museum nearby. Low a dime, very reasonable. The present log cabin boldly simulating the past log cabin where Lincoln was born. A boulder with a plaque in memory of the author of Trees. By now we're in Poplar Cove, North Carolina, reached by what my kind, tolerant, usually so restrained tour book angrily calls a very narrow road poorly maintained, to which, though no Kilmerite, I subscribe. From a hired motorboat operated by an elderly but still repulsively handsome white Russian, a baron, they said, Lowe's palms were damp, the little fool, who had known in California good old Maximovich and Valeria, we could distinguish the inaccessible millionaire's colony on an island, somewhere off the Georgia coast. We inspected further, a collection of European hotel picture postcards in a museum devoted to hobbies at a Mississippi resort, where with a hot wave of pride I discovered a coloured photo of my father's Mirana, its striped awnings, its flag flying above the retouched palm trees. "So what?" said Lowe, squinting at the bronzed owner of an expensive car who had followed us into the hobby house. Relics of the cotton era, a forest in Arkansas, and on her brown shoulder a raised purple-pink swelling, the work of some gnat, which I eased of its beautiful transparent poison between my long thumbnails, and then sucked till I was gorged on her spicy blood. Bourbon Street, in a town named New Orleans, whose sidewalks, said the tour book, may, I like the may, feature entertainment by pickaninnies who will, I like the will even better, tap dance for pennies, what fun, while its numerous small and intimate nightclubs are thronged with visitors, naughty. Collections of frontier lore, antebellum homes with iron trellis balconies and handwork stairs, the kind down which movie ladies with sun-kissed shoulders run in rich technicolor, holding up the fronts of their flounced skirts with both little hands in that special way, and the devoted negress shaking her head on the upper landing. The Menninger Foundation, a psychiatric clinic, just for the heck of it. A patch of beautifully eroded clay, and yucca blossoms, so pure, so waxy, but lousy with creeping whiteflies. Independence, Missouri, the starting point of the old Oregon Trail, and Abilene, Kansas, the home of the Wild Bill something rodeo. Distant mountains, near mountains, more mountains, bluish beauties never attainable or ever turning into inhabited hill after hill. Southeastern ranges, altitudinal failures as Alps go. Heart and sky-piercing, snow-veined grey colossi of stone, relentless peaks appearing from nowhere at a turn of the highway, timbered enormities, with a system of neatly overlapping dark firs interrupted in places by pale puffs of aspen, pink and lilac formations, pharaonic phallic, too prehistoric for words, blasé low, butts of black lava, early spring mountains with young elephant lanugo along their spines, end of the summer mountains all hunched up, their heavy Egyptian limbs folded under folds of tawny moth-eaten plush, oatmeal hills flecked with green round oaks, a last rufous mountain with a rich rug of lucerne at its foot. Moreover, we inspected Little Iceberg Lake, somewhere in Colorado, and the snowbanks, and the cushionettes of tiny alpine flowers, and more snow, down which Low in red-peaked cap tried to slide and squealed, and was snowballed by some youngsters and retaliated in kind, comme on dit. Skeletons of burned aspens, patches of spired blue flowers, the various items of a scenic drive, hundreds of scenic drives, thousands of bare creeks, soda springs, painted canyons. Texas, a drought-struck plain. Crystal chamber in the longest cave in the world, children under 12 free, Low a young captive. A collection of a local lady's homemade sculptures, closed on a miserable Monday morning. Dust, wind, witherland. Conception Park, in a town on the Mexican border which I dared not cross. There and elsewhere, hundreds of grey hummingbirds in the dusk, probing the throats of dim flowers. Shakespeare, a ghost town in New Mexico, where Badman Russian Bill was colourfully hanged 70 years ago.